The immense chamber pulsed with a low, resonant hum, the sound vibrating through the very bones of the assembled dignitaries. Light, refracted through crystalline structures embedded in the vaulted ceiling, cast shifting patterns across their multifaceted eyes and iridescent carapaces. For generations, the Krill Council had convened in this hallowed space, deliberating on matters of galactic import, their decisions shaping the fate of countless civilizations. But today, a disquiet unlike any they had known permeated the air, a palpable tension born of the unknown. The source of their unease, humanity. Their arrival had been unconventional, a ripple in the fabric of spacetime, a blip on the outermost sensors, and then they were simply there, a single vessel drifting on the fringes of Krill's space. Initial scans had been perplexing, bordering on the absurd. Their technology was unremarkable, primitive even compared to the Krill's own advancements. Yet there was something else, something that defied easy categorization, a subtle energy signature that resonated with a primal, almost unsettling frequency. Grand Chancellor Thrax, his carapace gleaming with age and authority, addressed the council. His voice, amplified by resonators built into his throat, echoed through the chamber. For cycles we have observed this humanity. Their transmissions are fragmented, their purpose unclear. Some among us advocate for immediate containment, for the eradication of a potential threat before it can take root. A murmur of agreement rippled through the assembly. The Krill were not a warlike species, but they were pragmatic. Survival demanded vigilance. Thrax paused, his multifaceted eyes sweeping across the assembled Krill. Others advise caution. To strike blindly is to risk unforeseen consequences. Their technology may be primitive, but their spirit, their resilience, it is unlike anything we have encountered. He gestured towards a holographic projection shimmering in the center of the chamber. It depicted the human vessel, its design simple, almost utilitarian, yet somehow defiant. Their history is a tapestry of conflict, of overcoming seemingly insurmountable odds. To underestimate them would be a grave error. Counselor Lyra, her voice sharp and insistent, countered, "Resilience alone does not equate to power, Chancellor. Their internal conflicts, their self-destructive tendencies, they are a species on the brink of annihilation. Why should we fear a civilization so determined to destroy itself?" Lyra represented the isolationist faction, those who believed that the Krill's survival depended on severing all contact with the outside universe. Humanity, in her eyes, was merely another contagion to be quarantined. Perhaps, Thrax conceded, but consider this, they survived. They teetered on the precipice, yet they did not fall. What does that say about their capacity for adaptation, for survival? He paused, allowing his words to sink in. We have analyzed their history, their art, their myths. There is a recurring theme, a narrative of overcoming adversity, of triumph in the face of impossible odds. It is woven into the very fabric of their being. The debate continued for what felt like an eternity, arguments and counterarguments echoing through the chamber. Fear mingled with curiosity, caution with a grudging respect. The Krill, a species renowned for their logic and analytical prowess, found themselves grappling with an enigma they could not decipher. Humanity was a variable they could not quantify, an unknown that threatened to destabilize their carefully ordered universe. As the discussion reached an impasse, a high-pitched chime resonated through the chamber, silencing the assembled Krill. All eyes turned towards the central projection as a new message appeared, its source, the human vessel. The message was simple, direct, and utterly unexpected. "We come in peace. We seek knowledge. We offer assistance." The words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken implications. Assistance. What could this primitive species possibly offer the Krill, a civilization that had mastered interstellar travel and manipulated the very fabric of spacetime? Was this a ruse, a desperate attempt to gain entry into their territory, or was it something else entirely? Thrax, his mind racing, issued a curt order. "Establish communication, but proceed with utmost caution. We must determine their true intentions." The Krill, their fear momentarily eclipsed by a surge of cautious curiosity, prepared to engage with the unknown. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same again. Days turned into weeks as the Krill cautiously probed the human vessel, seeking to understand the minds of its occupants. The humans, in turn, responded with a calm, almost unnerving patience. Their language was complex, their concepts alien, yet they made a concerted effort to bridge the gap, to explain their motives and their capabilities. One Krill scientist, Xyler, found himself increasingly drawn to the challenge. He spent countless cycles poring over the data streams, dissecting the human language, and attempting to decipher the underlying logic of their thought processes. What he discovered both fascinated and disturbed him. The humans possessed a remarkable capacity for abstract thought, for pattern recognition, for solving problems that defied conventional solutions. They were, in a word, innovative. But it was their history that truly captivated Xyler. He learned of their wars, their plagues, their famines, their countless struggles for survival. He saw the depths of their cruelty, their capacity for self-destruction, but he also saw their unwavering hope, their relentless pursuit of progress, their unwavering belief in the power of the human spirit. And then he saw the scars. Not physical scars, though those were plentiful, but something deeper, something etched into their very souls. He saw the scars of trauma, of loss, of countless generations of suffering. But he also saw the resilience, the strength that had been forged in the fires of adversity. He saw that their scars were not a sign of weakness, but a testament to their indomitable will. One human in particular, a woman named Commander Eva Rostova, caught Xyler's attention. Her records were sparse, heavily redacted, yet there were glimpses, fragments of information that hinted at a past filled with unimaginable hardship. She had served in countless conflicts, witnessed horrors that would shatter the minds of lesser beings, and yet she carried herself with a quiet dignity, a steely resolve that belied the pain she had endured. Xyler delved deeper, bypassing security protocols, piecing together the fragments of Rostova's past. He learned of a cataclysmic war that had ravaged Earth, a conflict that had pushed humanity to the brink of extinction. He learned of her sacrifices, her unwavering loyalty, her willingness to risk everything for the sake of her people. And he learned of the scanner, a device implanted in her neural cortex designed to enhance her cognitive abilities to make her a more effective warrior. But the scanner had malfunctioned. It was designed to kill. Rostova wasn't supposed to survive the procedure. The scanner was meant to turn off her survival mechanisms, turn off her moral compass, her humanity. And yet she had. The Krill scanners marked her impossible to kill, but that was an oversimplification. It wasn't that she couldn't die, it was that she refused to die. Her will was her shield, her logic her sword. She had, in essence, hacked her own brain, rewritten her own code. She was an anomaly, a walking paradox, and the Krill didn't know what to do with her. Xyler, his mind reeling, realized the truth. The humans were not primitive. They were not weak. They were survivors. They had faced the worst that the universe could throw at them, and they had emerged stronger, more resilient, more determined than ever before. And Rostova, with her impossible scars, was a symbol of their unwavering spirit. He presented his findings to the council, laying bare the truth about humanity, about Rostova, about the scanner that had marked her as impossible to kill. The Krill listened in stunned silence, their fear slowly giving way to a grudging respect. They began to understand. Thrax, his voice heavy with realization, addressed the council. We have underestimated them. We have judged them based on their technology, on their history of conflict, but we have failed to see the true measure of their strength. He paused, his multifaceted eyes fixed on the holographic projection of Rostova. Their scars, they are a warning, a testament to their capacity for survival, and a promise of what they are capable of achieving. The council, finally united in their understanding, voted to extend an invitation to the humans, to welcome them into the Krill Confederacy, to learn from them, and to stand with them against the darkness that threatened to engulf the galaxy. Rostova, accompanied by a small delegation of human diplomats and scientists, arrived at the Krill homeworld. She stepped off her vessel, her eyes scanning the alien landscape, her expression calm and composed. She approached Thrax, extending her hand in a gesture of peace. We are honored to be here, Chancellor. We come as friends, and we offer our assistance in whatever form it may be needed. Thrax, his heart filled with a mixture of hope and trepidation, clasped her hand. Welcome, Commander Rostova. Welcome to the Krill Confederacy. Together we shall face whatever challenges lie ahead. The alliance between humans and Krill was not without its challenges. Cultural differences, misunderstandings, and lingering suspicions threatened to derail the fragile peace. But Rostova, with her unwavering resolve and her uncanny ability to bridge the gap between species, managed to hold the alliance together. She worked tirelessly to foster understanding, to educate the Krill about human culture and values, and to learn from their own unique perspectives. She shared her stories, her experiences, her scars with the Krill, showing them the true meaning of resilience, of hope, and of the power of the human spirit. And slowly, gradually, the Krill began to see the humans not as a threat, but as allies. They learned to appreciate their ingenuity, their compassion, and their unwavering commitment to justice. They learned that their scars were not a sign of weakness, but a badge of honor, a testament to their ability to overcome any obstacle. Together, humans and Krill faced countless challenges, exploring new worlds, forging new alliances, and defending the galaxy against external threats. Rostova, with her impossible scars and her unwavering spirit, became a symbol of unity, a beacon of hope in a dark and uncertain universe. But their alliance was about to be tested in ways they could not have imagined. A new threat emerged, a cosmic entity of unimaginable power, a being known only as the Void. It was a force of pure entropy, a destroyer of worlds, a devourer of galaxies, and it was heading towards the Krill Confederacy. The Void's arrival was heralded by a wave of energy that rippled through space-time, disrupting communications, disabling sensors, and causing widespread panic. Planets crumbled, stars flickered and died, and entire sectors of space were consumed by its insatiable hunger. The Krill Council, their fear rekindled, convened in the Great Chamber. Thrax, his voice trembling, addressed the assembled dignitaries. "The Void has arrived. We have exhausted all our defenses. We are on the brink of annihilation." Lyra, her isolationist tendencies resurfacing, argued that they should abandon the alliance with humanity and seek refuge in a distant, uncharted region of space. But Rostova, her voice calm and resolute, countered. "We will not abandon our allies. We will stand and fight. We will face the Void together." She revealed a plan, a desperate gamble that could potentially save the galaxy. She had studied the Void's energy signature, its patterns of destruction, and she believed she had found a weakness. The Void, despite its immense power, was not invincible. It was vulnerable to a specific type of energy, a frequency that resonated with its own chaotic nature. The humans had been working on a device, a weapon capable of generating this frequency, but it was still in its early stages of development. It was untested, unreliable, and potentially dangerous, but it was their only hope. Rostova, knowing the risks, volunteered to pilot the vessel carrying the device, to fly directly into the heart of the Void and unleash its power. The Krill protested, arguing that it was too dangerous, that she was sacrificing herself for a lost cause, but Rostova was adamant. "I have faced death many times before. I am not afraid. This is what I was born to do." She climbed aboard the experimental vessel, her heart filled with a mixture of fear and determination. She looked back at Thrax, at Lyra, at the faces of the Krill who had once feared her, who had now come to respect her. "Remember us," she said. "Remember our alliance, and never give up hope." The vessel launched into the Void, piercing through the darkness, heading towards the heart of the cosmic entity. Rostova, her hands steady on the controls, activated the device. The vessel began to glow with an intense, otherworldly light. The frequency built, resonating with the Void's chaotic energy, creating a feedback loop that threatened to tear the vessel apart. Rostova, ignoring the alarms blaring in her cockpit, pushed the device to its limits. She felt the energy coursing through her veins, burning her skin, threatening to overwhelm her mind. But she held on, her will unyielding, her determination unwavering. And then it happened. The Void shuddered, its chaotic energy momentarily disrupted. A ripple of light spread outwards, pushing back the darkness, creating a pocket of stability in the heart of the cosmic entity. Rostova had succeeded. She had found the Void's weakness, but her victory came at a terrible cost. The vessel, overloaded with energy, began to disintegrate. Rostova, knowing that she had only moments left, sent one final message to the Krill. "The Void is vulnerable. You must find a way to amplify the frequency. You must destroy it before it consumes us all." The vessel exploded, consumed by the Void's chaotic energy. Rostova was gone, but her sacrifice had given the Krill a chance. They rallied their forces, combining their technology with the human designs, amplifying the frequency, and unleashing it upon the Void. The battle was long and arduous. Many lives were lost. But in the end, the Krill and the humans, united in their grief and their determination, managed to defeat the Void. The cosmic entity shattered into a million pieces, its chaotic energy dissipated, its threat extinguished. The galaxy was saved, but the victory was bittersweet. Rostova was gone, and the Krill and the humans mourned her loss. They erected monuments in her honor, telling her story, remembering her sacrifice. They learned that her scars were not just a testament to her resilience, but a symbol of her unwavering commitment to justice, to hope, and to the power of the human spirit. She had shown them that even in the face of unimaginable darkness, there was always hope, that even the most impossible odds could be overcome. and that even the smallest act of courage could change the fate of the galaxy. Centuries passed. The alliance between humans and Krill flourished. They continued to explore the universe, to discover new worlds and to forge new alliances. They remembered Rostova, her scars, and her sacrifice. And they never forgot the lesson she had taught them, that unity, hope, and courage were the most powerful weapons in the universe. One day, a team of Krill scientists, exploring a distant, uncharted region of space, discovered something extraordinary. A massive artificial structure, abandoned for eons, a testament to a civilization far older and far more advanced than their own. The structure was a gateway, a portal to another dimension, to another universe. And it was broadcasting a signal, a message from beyond, a warning about a threat far greater than the void. The Krill, their fear rekindled, contacted the humans. They shared their discovery, their concerns, and their hopes. Together, they studied the signal, deciphering its message, and preparing for the unknown. They knew that the threat they were about to face would test their alliance to its limits. But they also knew that they were not alone. They had each other. They had Rostova's legacy, and they had the unwavering belief in the power of the human spirit. They stepped through the gateway, into the unknown, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. They were the humans and the Krill, and they were the last hope of the galaxy. As they ventured into the new dimension, they discovered the truth of the ancient signal. It spoke of a cosmic cycle, a recurring pattern of creation and destruction. The void was not merely a random entity, but a natural part of this cycle, a force of entropy that cleared the way for new creation. However, the signal warned of a deviation, an imbalance in the cycle. A force was emerging that sought to disrupt the natural order, to accelerate the process of destruction, and to plunge the universe into eternal darkness. This force was known as the Unmaker. An entity of pure nihilism, it sought to unravel the fabric of reality, to erase all existence. The ancient civilization that had built the gateway had attempted to stop the Unmaker, but had ultimately failed. They left behind the signal as a warning, hoping that another civilization might succeed where they had failed. The humans and the Krill realized the magnitude of the threat they faced. The void had been a mere prelude, a test of their strength. The Unmaker was the ultimate challenge, the final boss of the universe. They knew that they had to act quickly, to find a way to stop the Unmaker before it could unleash its destructive power upon the galaxy. They began to explore the new dimension, searching for clues, for weaknesses, for any advantage they could find. They discovered remnants of the ancient civilization, ruins of their cities, fragments of their technology. They learned of their desperate struggle against the Unmaker, their failed attempts to create weapons, to build defenses, to find a way to defeat it. As they delved deeper into the mysteries of the ancient civilization, they made a startling discovery. The ancient civilization had not been alone. They had been part of a larger galactic community, a coalition of species that had united to fight against the Unmaker. This coalition had included species from all corners of the universe, each with their own unique strengths and abilities. However, the coalition had been fractured by internal conflicts, by mistrust, by a lack of unity. The Unmaker had exploited these weaknesses, turning the species against each other, and ultimately leading to their downfall. The humans and the Krill realized that they could not afford to repeat the mistakes of the past. They had to remain united, to trust each other, and to work together if they wanted to have any chance of defeating the Unmaker. They began to reach out to other species in the galaxy, sharing their knowledge, their experiences, and their hopes. They formed a new coalition, a united front against the Unmaker. This coalition included species of all shapes and sizes, with diverse cultures and beliefs, but all united by a common goal: to save the universe from destruction. The Unmaker, sensing the growing threat, began to launch its attacks. It unleashed waves of destructive energy, warping reality, creating chaos and destruction. Planets were shattered, stars were extinguished, and entire galaxies were consumed by darkness. The coalition fought back with all their might, using every weapon, every technology, every strategy they could muster. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and outmatched, but they refused to give up. They fought with courage, with determination, and with the unwavering belief that they could win. The humans, with their ingenuity and their adaptability, played a crucial role in the fight. They developed new weapons, new technologies, and new strategies that helped to turn the tide of battle. They inspired other species with their unwavering spirit, their willingness to sacrifice everything for the sake of the universe. The Krill, with their logic and their analytical prowess, also played a vital role. They analyzed the Unmaker's attacks, identifying its weaknesses and developing countermeasures. They coordinated the coalition's defenses, ensuring that every species was working together effectively. The battle raged for eons across countless galaxies. The universe was on the brink of destruction, but the coalition refused to give up. They continued to fight, to hope, and to believe. And then they discovered the Unmaker's true weakness. It was not a physical weakness, but a philosophical one. The Unmaker, in its nihilistic desire to destroy all existence, had forgotten the importance of creation. It had forgotten the power of hope, of love, of unity. The coalition realized that the only way to defeat the Unmaker was to remind it of these things. They began to broadcast messages of hope, of love, of unity across the universe. They shared stories of courage, of sacrifice, of the indomitable human spirit. The Unmaker, confronted with these messages, began to waver. It sensed the power of hope, the strength of unity, and the unwavering belief in the future. It began to question its own nihilistic beliefs. And then something extraordinary happened. The scars of Rostova, the scars that had marked her as impossible to kill, began to resonate with the Unmaker's energy. The scars, which were a symbol of her resilience, her courage, and her unwavering belief in the human spirit, became a conduit for the coalition's messages of hope and unity. The Unmaker, overwhelmed by these messages, began to unravel. Its destructive energy dissipated, its nihilistic beliefs shattered. It realized the futility of its quest to destroy all existence. And then it disappeared. The Unmaker was gone, the universe was saved, the coalition had won. The species of the coalition celebrated their victory, their unity, and their newfound hope for the future. They had faced the ultimate challenge, and they had emerged stronger, more resilient, and more united than ever before. They learned that even in the face of unimaginable darkness, there was always hope, that even the most impossible odds could be overcome, and that even the smallest act of courage could change the fate of the universe. They built a new era of peace, prosperity, and unity across the galaxy. They continued to explore the universe, to discover new worlds, and to forge new alliances. They remembered the lessons they had learned from the Unmaker, and they never forgot the importance of hope, of love, and of unity. And they remembered Rostova, her scars, and her sacrifice. They knew that her legacy would live on forever, inspiring future generations to fight for hope, for unity, and for the future of the universe. The warnings that the scanner marked her impossible to kill were not merely about her physical resilience, but about the strength of will and the unwavering spirit that defined her and ultimately saved the cosmos. They understood that humanity's scars, and their ability to overcome them, held a power that transcended mere survival. It held the key to creation itself.